just hit the courage button. It takes a lot of courage just to put yourself out there, just to do your art thing and let people look at it. I mean, but there is a point where you have to let go and you have to be uncontrolled sometimes.
Welcome to the BoldBrush Show, where we believe that fortune favors the bold brush. My name is Laura Orengo-Bayer, and I'm your host. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we are a podcast that covers art marketing techniques and all sorts of business tips specifically to help artists learn to better sell their work. We interview artists at all stages of their careers, as well as others who are in careers tied to the art world in order to hear their advice and insights. We sat down with Kathie Odom, an artist with a deep love of what she has called nostalgic impressionism. We discuss how her career started from a genuine love for the craft that became something more, the challenges and rewards of dedicating yourself to being a full-time artist, and the importance of pushing the courage button and staying consistent. Finally, we discuss some excellent marketing tips from both Kathie and her husband, Buddy, and we hear all about her awesome upcoming workshops. So, welcome, Kathie and Buddy, to the BoldBrush Show. How are you today?
Very good. It's great to be with you.
Hi, Laura. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I've been talking to both of you, of course. And you're a bit of a duo, which I love. I love when there are couples that help each other out to make their careers grow. And this is it. You guys are so adorable, but you really are goals. You're the goals that everyone should have if anyone has, a right-hand person that helps them through stuff. But before we dive into your duo jobs, Kathie, do you mind telling us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Who am I? I am a late bloomer as far as my art career goes, and it is a dream come true. And I have had many jobs, personal and money makers, but this is absolutely the dream. So I would say that's
Yes.
who I am now.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I have met so many people of different walks of life. They're young and or like they've started very young or started later on when they finally had, the money to be able to pursue the career. And it is so, I think, cathartic to see people like, who in the end, they're so in love with art and painting and really capturing the essence of that beauty and saying, this is what makes me the happiest and I would not give it up. I think it's so commendable and so beautiful to see that. And especially because your paintings, they do capture that essence. I was just telling you before we were recording how I love how your paintings really make you feel like you are outdoors in the midday and that sun is beating down on everything and everything just looks bright and vibrant. Can you tell us a bit about your work?
Well, sure. My work is foremost influenced by plein air work and being outside. And I absolutely love what I see. I want to capture it. I want to let it inform what comes out of me as an artist, and putting the two together, just the air, the birds, the vibration of what nature does when we're outside is all really special, is all I know to say. And so I could do that all the time. But at the moment, it is very cold in Tennessee, which is not real normal to be in the single digits. So I do a lot of studio work at this time of year.
And you also, early on, you came up with the phrase nostalgic impressionist.
Yes. What captures me and what I want to paint is something probably that reminds me of something in the past, or just a sentimental thing that I'm pretty sappy. But anyway, those kind of things though intrigue me, and I want to catch them on canvas. So the nostalgia part is definitely there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're definitely surrounded by a very beautiful area. I mean, I've been to Tennessee and the woods there, I guess the energy of Tennessee, it's very unique and it's so beautiful that you capture that and you really hold on to it because I can feel it. Having been to Tennessee and then seeing your work, I can feel it. I can say, yeah, that's Tennessee. I've
Well,
wow, it's like I'm there.
that is the best compliment I could get.
Oh.
And I'll tell you, I do a lot of events all over the United States, and I'm always looking for that thing that reminds me of home.
Mhm.
It's just it's the good spot, it's what I want to paint. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. And then I did want to ask you, since you did mention you're a late bloomer, and I love hearing that because that means you have seen a lot of things and experienced a lot of things, and then finally said, you know what, I'm putting my foot down. I'm gonna paint. How was that journey for you?
Mm. It's so fun, but also shocking. And at at the age of 50, this man gave me a birthday present of a plein air workshop. And I was so excited. I had always said, at one point I'm going to be an oil painter and I'm just going to do it. And, to make yourself transition into that is not an easy thing. But the workshop for a big event in my life, just
Your 50th.
my 50th, just made it happen. And from that moment on, I have not stopped painting. I thought it was going to be just this hobby that, I would do and enjoy a lot. But quickly it turned into more, and that's been exciting. So, yeah, that would be how it all got going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
inspiring. But what were you doing before you were painting?
Oh my goodness. Um, well, always creative work, but I would say that I was okay, it went from framing art. I had my own little cottage industry and did framing. Then it turned into faux finishing, working on walls. A friend was an interior designer, said, "You should be doing this." Tried that for a while. I was up on scaffolding 20 feet up in the air, and it was kind of crazy.
Mhm.
And then that moved into helping renovate places, decorative things. And then I ended up working a 4-story furniture store, helping them change their business.
Mm.
And then painting happened. And when the creativity came down to being on a piece of canvas, it was just a dream. And we kind of believe everything brings us to this place. Everything before kind of brings us to this place.
Yeah.
And absolutely every bit of that influenced what's going on now. And
Mhm.
it it all I think I was painting even when I was arranging furniture, you know? I mean, it just all has to um come to fruition. I can't say that
That's right.
word. But anyway, it's been really sweet. And now it's a little bit more work than I thought it would be, but
Yeah.
it's good work. It's
Mm.
Not all dreamy.
really not all dreamy.
Oh.
And
But
I
good.
would, if I could,
Yeah.
add to that, only because it probably didn't come to mind. Right before the plein air workshop that I gave her, both her parents, within a period of 5 years, passed away, and of course she's mothering, and
My children left me. I mean, they grew they grew up into what we had raised them to be and do, but the shock of both parents passing and children up and getting their own lives, was in a mindset of, well, I'm next. I guess I'll
No.
it's all over. I am so much younger than I felt then,
Mhm.
15 years ago.
Wow.
So it has been a life-giving gift to paint, and so
Yeah,
that's been
yeah, for
exciting.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that. And that is so true because, it gives you, on one hand, it gives you a purpose, it gives you an exciting reason to get up in the morning and be excited to, go explore outside and see what sights you might want to capture. And I think that's beautiful, especially after being, an empty nester and then of course losing your parents. That's a huge blow. And it also, I love that your art then became a place for you to heal and to recover, and that explains also the nostalgia aspect, which makes
I
total sense.
absolutely, and art is a healer. It it is some of the best medicine you can find. So,
Mhm.
anyway, creating is a gift.
It is indeed, and, oh, I love that. I'm actually speechless because, I feel like we all have a love for the arts, at least the artists that I've met or the other artists that I know, we all have that love from childhood, and I feel like so much of life tells us, "Oh, you can't do that," or, "Oh, just forget about it, you can't live from that," and then here you are, obviously, you're selling your work, you're painting every day, at least, from what I can tell because you have a ton of work. Um, how was that like for you to transition, from okay, I have a day job and I'm doing this to full on living from your work.
Yeah. Um, Fortunately, there was another income coming in,
Mm.
from Buddy. And so he is a multitasker, and this isn't his only gig. He's got a lot going on. But it, I think, though, it was a conscious, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit everything else and I'm going to pour into it. And that's exactly what happened. It became a lot more serious. I started in workshops, and then I had a mentor that I studied under for about a year, and then decided, okay, let's go for it. And but I think that mentality of I have got to produce, a lot of words that I don't like, but I'm pretty good under pressure.
Mhm.
Um, all of those things started, okay, I need to be out there painting. And if it's plein air, then I've got to go. And so all of those things made for a new career. I mean,
Mhm.
and also investing back into it.
Yeah.
Like I was doing some selling and all at the beginning, but every bit of it was going back into either marketing or
Workshops,
more paint.
better frames.
Yes,
Mm.
yes,
Yeah.
all
Mm.
those things.
Yeah, no, and that makes perfect sense. You have to kind of like a cycle where you have to produce to sell to be able to produce, and then it completes the cycle. I did want to ask what because you mentioned earlier also that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, of course, to be a painter. What are some of the challenges that you have faced that you kind of didn't expect?
I think all artists we're pretty unique people, and um, we all need, well, I'm just going to speak for myself. I need the right environment. I need to wake up on the right side of the bed. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, there's just a lot of things that really I can't just push through all the time. I
Mhm.
want those good influences happening in my day. And but there are days that things need to happen.
Mhm.
And if I just push myself to get in front of the easel, if I just push myself to put that one first mark on the canvas, then I'm off and going. It's
Mhm.
amazing. Just to get to that place is not always easy. But once I get started, I'm pretty much hooked. Um, I'm gonna be painting.
Yeah. No, I totally relate to that. I totally relate to that because, getting yourself to do something when you're tired or when you're upset or, life happens. And
Yes.
of course especially if you're selling your work, you can't put a pause button on life, unfortunately. Gosh, I wish I could put a pause on life and just be like, I need to breathe. But but it's great that, you point out that sometimes we will have resistance, despite it being, such a wonderful activity, right? Painting is so
Mhm.
fulfilling and is so beautiful. It is like every time you finish a painting, it's like, like my soul is breathing. But I think, yeah, it's wonderful that you highlight that. Oh, it's not always easy to get myself to do something. And it is worth it in the end though, which I love. Um, so then I would also like to ask what advice you would give to anyone out there who is thinking of making that jump.
Just hit the courage button. I mean, I I don't know what else to say other than it's gonna take it, you just can't control it and you can't make it um easy. And it's taken a lot. It takes a lot of courage just to put yourself out there, just to do your art thing and let people look at it. I mean, but there is a point where you have to let go and you have to be uncontrolled sometimes. And
Mhm.
um the word courage just comes to mind foremost. Yeah,
Yes,
just do
absolutely.
it.
Could I add
Yes,
to? Could I add also?
of course.
I would say get better.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah,
Get and
work at it.
I would say that to any artist living right now, get better,
mhm,
because there's a real trap to think if you're selling or if you're proud or anything like that, that there's some sort of a rival. But since it's this go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't wanna arrive. I want to work at it, but I want to continue to learn and work at it. And that keeps it exciting. And if I just find a certain way to do certain things, that's going to bore me.
mhm,
So keeping myself um, excited and intrigued by what we do is probably one of the best
And
things.
this is where I've learned it, just watching
Uh,
her when she gets bored and falling back into a little bit of a hole, like, oh, I don't want to go out there, or I don't want to, and but it's because she's become bored with what she's doing, and so,
mhm,
or she's feels the pressure to paint for someone other than her.
mhm.
And that is a really key thing that we try to keep the fire stoked on around here for sure, is to paint what you
well,
want.
that really brings me to the place of paint what interests you, paint what you love. I really believe the viewer sees that. They know it when you're happy, or when you're intrigued by what you're doing. Um, go be selfish a little bit. I mean, I spent my whole life trying not to be a selfish person. But when it came to the art, it was like, okay, it's time. It's time to do what I want to do and to express what I want to express and not to worry about sales. because
Yes.
if I don't worry about sales, then I believe I'm in a more genuine place.
Absolutely.
Now, my first experience in a gallery was I had taken my first works in to be framed at this frame shop gallery, and the words that came out of the gallerist's mouth were, "I'm interested in your work. This designer in our shop is very interested in what you're doing. We would like to consider carrying you." But here were the words: "You must be prolific."
Ooh.
You know, oh, wow. He took something that was so exciting and then all of a sudden did put pressure on it. Or, but I heard it. And that was a huge jump in getting started professionally, is I had heard the words prolific. And I took it to heart, and I think I'm still taking it to heart. But it's a good thing. It
Yeah.
keeps me in the paints and doing what I do love. So
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely a balance. I mean, obviously, your income is dependent on production, right? Um, of course, in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to worry about the income and you could just produce whenever. But yeah, I agree. There is a
But
benefit
then
to
it
having a
but
little bit
then
of
it
pressure.
but then it might not be a perfect world, because in the perfect world, we just, in my mind at least, I'm thinking a recliner and a glass of red wine, and I
Mhm.
don't think that's a perfect world when I kind of get a better view of, as I back up and look. And so around here, we say a mortgage payment is a good incentive. And so it kind of keeps us a little leaning forward. It keeps us on our toes a little bit more, mainly because we think that what we have, we've been given. So
Right.
whether it's meeting someone like you, this has been given to us. Whether it's this talent that always ought to be sharpened, and mine as well. So we're always kind of leaning in because we feel like it's been given to us instead of something that we've just been able to pull off.
This is true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the people who have to struggle more in a way are much harder workers, I guess, than, someone who's just given everything because they're just expecting it. And I totally understand that perspective.
Yeah.
Um and I agree, I also don't see the perfect world being, sitting on a recliner with
Right.
glass of wine, or a beer. I'm also the type of person who I need something to do. Because I will get bored sitting on that recliner. So I totally understand. At BoldBrush, we inspire artists to inspire the world because creating art creates magic. And the world is currently in desperate need of magic. BoldBrush provides artists with free art marketing, creativity, and business ideas and information. This show is an example. We also offer written resources, articles, and a free monthly art contest open to all visual artists. We believe that fortune favors the bold brush. And if you believe that too, sign up completely free at boldbrushshow.com. That's BoldBrush show.com. The BoldBrush Show is sponsored by Faso. Now more than ever, it's crucial to have a website when you're an artist, especially if you want to be a professional in your career. Thankfully, with our special link, faso.com/podcast, you can make that come true and also get over 50% off your first year on your artist website. Yes, that's basically the price of 12 lattes in 1 year, which I think is a really great deal considering that you get sleek and beautiful website templates that are also mobile friendly, e commerce, print on demand in certain countries, as well as access to our marketing center that has our brand new art marketing calendar. And the art marketing calendar is something that you won't get with our competitor. The art marketing calendar gives you day by day, step by step guides on what you should be doing today, right now, in order to get your artwork out there and seen by the right eyes so that you can make more sales this year. So, if you want to change your life and actually meet your sales goal this year, then start now by going to our special link, faso.com/podcast. That's FASO.com/podcast. And then now I really want to ask both of you, because this is where the duo side comes in, since I really want to discuss marketing with you. And it from what you guys explained to me, Buddy, you help Kathie with the marketing side. How does that work with you guys?
Well, it's called Kathie Odom, first of all.
Yeah.
She that's what it's called. And
I always say I have veto power.
and she
And I do, and
she
I
does.
use it.
She does. I mean, it's not my name out there, and it's not my work. I've never painted one single brush stroke on any painting of hers, of course.
Mhm.
And so I'm here to say I'll do everything I can to help you continue to paint and teach, and
Yes.
whatever that takes. And we are empty nesters. I mean, we have 5 grandkids, and they live in other cities, not too far away, but far enough to keep us with some extra hours, if you will, to be able to apply toward the marketing of that. And it. Go ahead.
I would say that when we did start thinking in that way of marketing, something that was just resound in me was it's got to be about the art, not just a unique way of showing the art. I mean, although that all of that happens, but first and foremost, the first thing is it's got to be about the art. And I think instead of, just, I mean, Buddy has ideas just constantly, and they've been great ones. And I would say FASO has been a gift to us, and the fact that it offers, I would say, the best marketing thing we have done, which is totally Buddy putting it together, has been the newsletter connection on our website, which is our FASO website. And I know that that's who I'm talking to right now, but I would say this to anybody, that that was a tool that has gone out. We've done a newsletter once a month
For about 8 years.
for 8 years. It happens at the beginning of the month, sometimes a couple of days late, but I've never seen somebody stay on something like Buddy has. And it's all about what's happening now. What workshops are we, am I teaching? What trips are we going on? Where are we? What have I been painting lately? And that has been probably one of the best marketing tools
It's
definitely.
Yeah, way to go, FASO, way to go. But it is, anyone listening, I'm telling you, start a newsletter. The best time to plant a sequoia is, once heard, was like 800 years ago. The second best time to plant a sequoia is today. So you start something we've gone 8 years at this every month, and it's not too much we haven't done it every 2 or 3 weeks or 1 week, and we haven't skipped times. We've just stayed steady, and her following has grown over 8 years all by itself. And people subscribe to the newsletter.
Hopefully the paintings had a little something.
Had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Because it's so full circle to what she's really saying is it's about the art. And of course there's an artist behind the art, but you lead with the beauty, and then you find out who's busy creating that and how she goes about it, and you become very intrigued with that. But if you're not hooked on the art, I mean, how are you going to get hooked on creating something that you don't care about? So yeah, it's about travels and workshops and galleries and new release paintings. And
I think, well, we both have been talking lately about just diversifying, just not getting in a groove and just staying there. So we definitely, I do plein air events. I teach workshops. I work in the studio. I go out with my friends here in my area to plein air paint.
She's in galleries. She's done a book. So there's so many different things to diversify, so that when something like COVID hits and really shuts one or two of the sides down.
So we got into Zoom teaching during COVID, and that was amazing. Just how many, I mean, there is the word courage, because I said I would never, ever do anything where I was recorded.
Like this.
And here I am with you. I mean, I had a horrible experience at the University of Tennessee being told that I had a disease of the voice. So it's just been a PTSD thing. But anyway, even to put a book out, this was the conversation that went on. I'm not ready for a book. I haven't painted enough to have a book. I mean, it took the courage and my grandchildren, because I thought, okay, let's put a book together. This has happened, and it's a unique, wonderful story. And I don't know how unique it is. I think there's a lot of us that get a late start, that have put our life toward other things. But it was like, okay, and the book really speaks to that. What can happen if you have the courage to do it? And on the cover, Kathie Odom, Let the Art Speak, is the name of it. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And Buddy is a much more, we are complete opposites. And we really are. And truthfully, if I didn't have someone like him in my life, courage would have gone out the window. I have to have courage to be married to him. I mean,
I'm a strong drink of water. Let's just say.
But all of that, and us knowing each other and trusting and having ideas, we are talking ideas all the time. And
part of that is because we've seen what has happened. I mean, we're not opposites when it comes to bringing beauty. We're just all about it. Both of us are. So we have these ideas or thoughts, and a lot of it has to do, how can we inject courage into someone else so that this might, just ripple on and keep going. And that's with the grandkids too. I mean, they're going to have some copies, and Lord willing, they're going to grow old, and if maybe they'll have kids and grandkids and great, so it might just kind of keep on going in that respect too. But if we can inject some courage into anyone to turn your computer off, stop watching this video right now, and go pick up a brush. If we any of those sort of things.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's like you have this common goal, and sure, you might have different ways of approaching it, but the goal is still met, and I love that. I mean, you guys are definitely giving me courage right now. Like,
Good.
wow, it's beautiful. I love that. There are so many risks that you take in this career. So many, and the main one, of course, is the one you already mentioned, which is putting yourself out there, which can be so vulnerable. It's so challenging, but of course, your work is beautiful and it speaks for itself. It truly does. And it definitely inspires others. You're welcome. Yeah. And again, I love that you guys, work together. I think it's wonderful. And it's not the first time that I've seen this. I have also interviewed other artists who say, I want to thank my partner, whether it's husband or wife, because their support really, it makes a difference, especially when as an artist, you're going through a slump, you're going through a hard time.
May I say something to that?
Of course.
Just going down to the local coffee shop with a friend and saying, every month or maybe every 2 weeks, could I take an hour of your time with a friend? And there are so many people that love art that want to put a brush in their hand, like me. I want to, but I can't. I've tried it. It doesn't work. So So I've got some love over here this way. So you can go with a friend, and there are so many friends have interest in what she's doing. You have friends that have interest in what you're doing. And so many folks can go to the coffee shop and say, I would like to buy an hour from you. And here's how we'll do it. I'll buy your coffee and I'll buy your bagel. And then, oh, you like some of my art. I have a lot. And so you could take them down and say, pick whatever you want, or let me show you what's available. If you give me an hour a month for me to just bounce ideas off of you, and you be critical and helpful, and it's just a great exchange, because just the idea of having someone to get out of your head with, and they might say you're too much in your head, and then you say that's why you're here. And so just to have someone to be able to do simple conversation instead of launch a marketing campaign, and they'll say, well, how's your website? I don't have one. Well, here's how you get one. And those sort of things. And you just kind of incrementally, small, a sip at a time, but just start with a friend and ask them for an hour every 2 or 3 weeks of their time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be spouse or partners or anything like that. It could really certainly be just all these folks who say, oh, you paint? And you say, yeah, let me buy you a coffee.
I love that. That's very true. Yes,
Yep.
you make an excellent point. It is also the community and the people that you surround yourself with. Of course, not only partner, though I have come across a lot of people who, they're married, they have kids, and definitely the partner has been,
Absolutely.
gosh, a godsend for them. Of course, there are other people who listen to the show who are not partnered up. So I completely agree. Connecting with other artists, connecting with even friends who maybe have nothing to do with the arts, just getting their honest opinion, someone that they trust for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think? Because it is true. You make a valid point that artists do tend to live in their head quite a lot. Um, but it's good to have someone to reel us out of there and be like, all right, this is what's going on. And it's very useful. I do also want to ask both of you, because you have a really wonderful, aside from your website, Instagram page. You have a lot of followers on your page. How do you guys manage the social media aspect of your career?
Um, Drinking a cup of coffee in the morning and saying, we ought to post something. Wouldn't that be a good idea? And or well, we just talk through it a little bit. And I don't know, just from my experience of being on Facebook and Instagram, a lot of people ought to bat things. They ought to talk about it before they put things on,
Mhm.
and it's just healthy and good and smart. But basically, I think that happens I've gotten to the place of courage where Buddy sometimes will just do it, without running it by me.
Mhm.
That used to bother me. It doesn't anymore. Just the fact that we are in this together, he sometimes knows best on that end of things. And I will say this, Buddy, at the very beginning of this, which he alluded to a little bit, but I heard it as, if I can keep you in the paints and in front of that canvas, that's what I want to help do. And what a gift. And I know that it's a gift. So, but those kind of things literally pop up. It's kind of an instinct. Oh, it's about time to put ourselves out there. Let's put a painting out there,
Mhm.
and not to overdo it. I think that may be, I mean, with the newsletter, we're consistent. We do it at the beginning of the month. People know when to expect it, but it's not all the time. It's
Mhm.
not, I don't want to just be a loudspeaker. I want it to be significant when we do it. I want it to be I want the art to speak.
We're not trying to build an audience. Again,
Mhm.
we're trying to have the beauty out there. And so the algorithms, we have no idea. It's not like, okay, if we wait 3 days and post that, that's going to be better. Or if we don't think or even talk,
I know none of that.
and I don't know much. And so we don't really do too much with it. But on Instagram, I think it's rare if you see anything other than a painting. And so
Mm.
it's just a painting. It's always the size, so that when someone's looking at it, they can in their mind's eye begin to see, oh, that's a 30 by 40, or is it an 8 by 10? That's just, I think, helpful. Other than that, we kind of keep it as scaled down as possible.
You know, rarely do I put on anything like a photograph of our family or us,
Mhm.
or
Which is fine, but
but
not for
the
this.
fact that I do it just every now and then, it gets a great response, because people want to know about each other's lives, not just the work.
Mhm.
So that's very rare and only every now and then, but it gets huge responses. So you learn by doing, you learn by trying different things. And usually when I do post something personal, I'm real excited about whatever that is, or
Mhm.
think that it would be a good thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys, I think you nailed it, honestly, in the sense of it truly just is about consistency. Doesn't matter what the algorithm is doing. It doesn't matter, like people try to follow all these trends and stuff, which I also try not to do because I think it seems kind of inauthentic. It's like, oh, everyone else is doing it. It's like, doesn't matter. So I love that in all aspects of the career, it's been consistency. Newsletter, posting, painting, repeat. It's been wow. So I guess for our
Mm,
listeners, it's 100% consistency is
mm.
the important ingredient, truly. Um, and I did want to ask because we did talk a little bit about diversification of income, but also I wanted to ask, and it slipped my mind because we get into such exciting topics. Um, have you found that you make more sales thanks to having a newsletter, or have you found that it doesn't really like you haven't really noticed the difference?
I used to look at what I posted, or the newsletter, or an ad in a magazine, and try to put, well, did that sell something? Did that move something? And it felt like it didn't at
Mm.
all. And I've really come to the place, I really have, that I feel like each painting has a home and it's going to find it. And that sounds a little out there, but I really have begun, and that has helped me release and let it go and just create what I'm enjoying, and knowing that every now and then I pray about it. I do. I just, you know, and that was a biggie for me to even think it was worth the prayer. But I have really, I just try to live it out, and not try to find the niche.
Mm.
Instead, just do it and be. And but I think all of those things, and the doing different things, has got to help. But would you agree?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
the question too would be that we continue to ask. She asked me in her way, and I ask her is, I say, are you being Kathie? Are you
mm,
Kathie? Are you, not just be Kathie? Because if she's doing something, whether it's social media or painting a painting that's just not Kathie, again, the viewer sees it. And uh, that about finding every painting, finding its home. I'm looking at a stack leaning against the wall over here, and that might be its home. They
yes,
may a big old stack right there.
it may find its home in the burn pile.
That's right. but it all comes from earlier when you said that statement that that everything has brought us to this place. So that stack is still doing something within her to help her be genuine, to be Kathie. And so,
and that magazine ad cost a whole lot of money, and you really want to know, is that, but that is getting you the public, and especially this wonderful plein air world, because it's gotten such feet under it. It's letting them know what you're up to and who you are, and that you're brave enough to put a half-page ad, in
Yes,
there.
that is true.
And it sooner or later, well, it's taken, I'd say it took about 10 years for just my name to be known a little bit. Shockingly, I mean, it was just a shock to run into somebody at a convention or an event. Are you Kathie Odom? I mean, who knew? I mean, it's wow. Now that'll propel you to get in front of the easel more, too. But the courage to to finance things, the courage to put a lot of paint on that palette instead of just little bitty bits, I mean, all of those things, I think, just tend to, you're worth it, and the painting is worth it, and it's a deal, it's a big deal, and let's buy into ourselves, and
while meanwhile, here's another quote from a favorite book of ours that says, "Don't think too highly of yourself, but with sober judgment." So we try to stay in. Isn't that great? Do not think more highly of yourself than you do not think more highly of yourself than you ought, but with sober judgment. And so, we need each other. We need each other to say, "Are you drunk on yourself?" Because I get drunk on myself. I just think too highly of myself. So can we have a little bit be a little bit more sober about it all? And so with a career, with people saying, "Are you Kathie Odom?" You gotta have to go, "Yeah, I'm just good old Kathie Odom." Not
that's usually how I answer. I mean, yeah, I had a thought there and it left me, but it'll come sometime.
Yeah, if it comes back, you can definitely say
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I love that because I think that quote also highlights how it's important to still recognize your achievements anyway. Don't let them, obviously don't get drunk on them, but you shouldn't minimize them either
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of work and dedication, as you have proven. And it really does, in the end, it's worth it. And it's something to be grateful for. And like Kathie mentioned, it makes you want to keep going, especially when someone out there says, "Oh my God, are you my hero?" It's like, oh, I will continue to be your hero. I will continue to just be myself to the best of my abilities. And that is, wow, it's very inspiring. And oh,
Well,
I'm
you're
also
really
sappy.
fun. You're really no, you're
Yes.
fun. I mean,
Thank you.
you're taking a little time off from the canvas yourself, and
Yes.
that's taking care of Laura while something's being built up in there. It's not like, well, I need to go produce. No, there's production going on within yourself. So way to go.
Exactly. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you. Yes. And you know what? It is also what we were both mentioning about, that authenticity. Is like, is this painting Kathie?
Mhm.
And really asking yourself, does this really speak about me and the vision that I want to share with the world? Because that is something that, a lot of people, especially when they start selling their work, it is so easy to let the market dictate what they'll do, which I think, again, it's a big mistake. It really erases that authenticity and it really takes away that unique voice because it just becomes another person for the pile, right? Instead of what does Kathie really care about and what does she want to say with her work? And how does each subsequent piece say even more about her, because it's not just, oh yeah, just one painting. No, there's that continual growth and improvement that also goes hand in hand with the production. And I think so many people are like, oh yeah, it's just art, and it's like, no, it's a journey. It's really a journey into self
Absolutely.
knowledge and self understanding, which is so challenging on its own. And again, why, I would be really happy if I had someone next to me like Buddy who could give me time to stay in front of a canvas, because it truly
Mhm.
is, it takes a lot of focus and energy, and again, dedication. So kudos to both of you. And of course, Kathie, your work is absolutely gorgeous. So
Oh,
wow.
thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any final pieces of advice for anyone out there who might be listening?
I don't think any different than what we've said, but if I could leave people with put yourself out there and have courage about it, that would that would be definitely.
I have one thing, please,
Yeah.
Go,
and that has
please.
to do with pricing.
Oh,
Mhm.
Um,
oh, here we go.
hey, and I think it's all integrated together in what we're saying. And um, I like to say that when Kathie paints a painting, she's kind of doing this and then putting it onto the canvas. So she's scratching she's putting her DNA into the painting. How much is that worth? And so you don't just say, "Oh, it's this." No, it's a piece of you, even if you don't like it at the moment. It's you on the way, and so price it accordingly. And if you don't, you hurt our other artists as well, who are trying to put themselves literally out there, putting their DNA into a painting. And so the way in which you price, you ought to be you ought to need to pinch yourself to price it there. If it's an easy number for you to price it at, you're too low. You need to be able to say,
Courage.
there it is.
Yes.
There it is.
Even with that,
We can't afford a Kathie Odom painting because we're lifting it up, and other people have said, I want a piece of Kathie. And that's not just a marketing, let's push this, how high is the market ceiling, that sort of thing. It is a little bit of that, but more than anything else, it's taking yourself seriously.
well, it
Yeah.
took a lot of putting yourself out there in events, or your work into a gallery, or a national show, being courageous enough to enter those. And so, I mean, shockingly enough for me, are ribbons that are over here on this metal cabinet of mine. And I don't show them at all so that people that walk in my studio see that. I put them there to say to Kathie every day, you've done something with this, and something's going on, and
Value. That's called value.
you've been courageous. And so actually the market has pretty much told me where to price things because of what's happened. And so all of that
Mhm.
comes into play. So for beginners, or amateur, they call themselves, oh, I just do this, as a side thing. Um, even take when you're take that seriously, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of us out here taking it very serious. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it's what, you know, there's like this I guess like this perspective that we sometimes have about ourselves where we don't value ourselves enough. And it's very common, but it definitely is a question of how much am I worth? Because a painting, you pour, it's not just pouring hours of painting into the work, it's also the 10 years of experience. It's your entire life of experience as well, because it's
Yes.
it's
Right.
every part of you that you are putting on this canvas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. It's very easy
Mm.
for people to undervalue themselves.
And here's another little free tip on pricing. Can we adjust your pricing annually, up or down, and leave it the same all year long? In January, after the holidays, if it's a common sale year, that means January is going to be down in February. So January, get a 2024 price list. Next year, 2025. So you're just adjusting that. And then all of your galleries should have the same prices for the same size painting from that year. So that there's this consistency. I think you brought it up several times. There's a consistency. There's an integrity to not just what you see on canvas, but that way as well. Now, if there's some discrepancies in pricing, it's because, well, that gallery got that painting 2 years ago and they still have it versus this year. So just pick it, adjust in January, move on. Carry the little piece of card around with you that says this is what a 12 by 16 costs.
Perfect. That is very, that's something not many people think about, but that is very true. And you have to adjust for inflation. So
That's right.
it makes sense to raise your prices to keep up with the economy. So that's another side. That's something else that, oh gosh, imagine having to handle all of that as one person. Again, I love that you guys are a duo for that reason. You get, to talk to each other and to be like, you know what, we got to raise our prices. Like, yeah, you're right. I love that. So Kathie, do you have any upcoming workshops or any exciting projects that are happening that you would like to promote?
Sure. I am doing in the spring home week with Kathie. So we're doing kind of a retreat. I'll do some demos. We'll just enjoy painting together in the area that I live in. So this is new and we're really excited about it. So
everything's included, where you stay, what you eat.
We will feed you.
We'll bring a box lunch out in the field to you in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Because we live very close.
So
that's in April.
That's in April. And then in the fall, I'm going to Spain with French escapades, and I'll be teaching over in Spain. And I'm really excited about that. But I'm also involved in several events this year. Plein Air South, Forgotten Coast in Florida. I'll be at the Plein Air Convention demoing and hopefully helping people out in the field. That's always exciting. I'll be at Door County, Wisconsin for an event. And then close to our heart is a new plein air event in the Smoky Mountains. And
hopefully you can get in it.
Yes, I have applied. But I have been in it the last 2 years, and we're just really excited to have something in our back door.
If she doesn't get in it, we're the biggest cheerleaders for that event.
We will be volunteers that week.
Plein Air Smokies. Look it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh, you have so much.
Well, the one thing I would promote is for everyone that hears this, go on my website, FASO website, and to sign up for my newsletter. Because that's
how it happens.
That's where all the new news is and what workshops we are involved in and I'm teaching. So
yeah, perfect. And then where else can people find your work?
Oh, in my galleries. Where we have.
Let's do this. Let's do Cole Gallery in Seattle. Acosta Strong in Santa Fe, Hines and Pitzer in Texas, Fine Line Gallery in
Door County,
Wisconsin.
My home gallery here in Tennessee, in Knoxville, Tennessee, is the District Gallery, and Leapers Creek Gallery in the Nashville area. So we've spread things out. Yes. I need to get painting.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's so many galleries, but that's awesome.
And we left
Congrats.
Sean Horn Gallery
Oh.
in Crested Butte, Colorado. That's a new
That's
one.
a new one.
And it's
Ooh.
great.
It's been
Beautiful little.
awesome.
Oh, if you're ever in Colorado, go to Crested Butte. And
Oh,
in the summer,
ooh.
we were there in
Beautiful.
August, and we woke up every morning and put on a fleece.
Oh,
And it was, I mean, it was
When you're from the South,
in August.
that is a feat to find a place where you can put on a good fleece and enjoy.
The Sean Horn Gallery in Crested.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so, so much, Kathie, and thank you, Buddy. This was
Thank
so
you.
wonderful and inspiring.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
Good.
That this has been a gift. Thank you.
Of course, you're both a gift.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you.